you. Thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm so happy to see all of you here tonight. We're very happy to host this event on behalf of Leadership Long Beach. As you know, the role of the library is to have civic engagement. I'd say tonight we're taking it to the next level. Would you not agree? So we're going to have a fabulous program tonight. And Jeff did say I could do a 30-second shameless plug for the library. So I have a few questions for you. How many of you have a library card? Excellent. How many of you think we have downloadable ebooks? We do. How many of you think we have downloadable audiobooks? We do. Okay, do we have downloadable music? We do. Can you take an online class and get a certificate led by an instructor, totally online, at the Long Beach Public Library website? You can. And topics from accounting to computer classes to health and to law, all types of topics. So we're all about education, we're all about literacy, and that's why we're here. Okay, so that's my 30-second plug. Real quickly, just want to let you know after the program is over tonight, the library will close at 6 o'clock, so you will exit out the doors and to your right and upstairs, and the bathrooms are also outside and to your right. And I think that's it for right now. So we're going to move on with the program. I'm going to ask everybody to please stand. We're going to do a Pledge of Allegiance. Right hand over your hearts. Let's begin. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Thank you. So next on the agenda is Ms. Julie Larkin. Nice to see you, Julie.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 2016 Leadership Long Beach Candidates Forum. My name is Julie Larkins. I am the class of 2012. For those of you who are familiar with Leadership Long Beach, it's the best class ever. First, we'd like to thank Glenda, the director of the library. She and her staff have been amazing in helping coordinate this and putting this together. So if we could just give her a round of applause and thank her for her time, effort, and her staff's effort, that would be great. And I'd also like to thank and recognize the board members of Leadership Long Beach. If there are any board members, which I know there are several here, if you could please raise your hand to be acknowledged. Yay. Thank you all for what you do. So Leadership Long Beach has been around for 26 years. We've had over 1,000 alumni go through the program. This is the second consecutive election season that Leadership Long Beach has hosted a forum for city candidates to help inform residents about the future leadership of our city. We believe these forums serve our mission to inform, activate, and connect community leaders to better serve Long Beach. We hope this evening will help all of us and those who will see this online in the weeks to come make a better informed decision on Election Day, April 12th. This event is a result of a lot of planning and coordination from a team of Leadership Long Beach alumni volunteers and our community partners. Please help me welcome and thank the Forum Planning Committee Chair, Trinka Roswell, to open the forum.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Trinka Rousel, and as Julie mentioned, I'm a proud graduate of class of 2014, along with Mark Magdalena over here. Mark and I, along with two of our other classmates, brought the first forum to Leadership Long Beach as our class project. So we're very excited to see this continue this evening. I'd like to take a moment to thank our forum planning team, and could you just raise your hand if, as I say your name, Antonio Ruiz, Colleen Bentley, who couldn't be with us tonight, Jeff Williams, Oscar Cosby, Mark Magdaleno, Jennifer Blackwell Trotter, Derek Simpson, Sabrina Sanders, James Johnson, Olivia Mazer, and our wonderful LLB alum and moderator, John Glaza. We are excited to begin the forum, but before we do, we'd ask that you think deeply about your community, your concerns, your thoughts and your passions, and how the people you choose to lead the city will embody the spirit of all you care about in your community. We have learned through Leadership Long Beach that community engagement is the first step to a better awareness of how to make a difference in the world we live in. So thank you again and welcome, and I'm going to turn it over to our moderator, John Glaza.
Thanks, Trinka. So let's get started. I'd like to thank Trinka and the entire team of Leadership Long Beach alums who put this forum together, and for the cooperation and support of our partners, Long Beach Public Library, Long Beach Community Action Partnership, Public Access Digital Network, which is PadNet, and PalacioMagazine.com. How about a quick round of applause for the folks who had a hand in putting this all together? I understand I'm getting some feedback, am I? Will you talk to the sound guy about that? Because I obviously don't know what to do. I'm not a sound guy, you guys. I can make sounds, but I'm not a sound guy. So before we get started, I'd like to take care of a few housekeeping items. First, please turn your cell phones to vibrate or to off. Second, we are videotaping tonight's forum for rebroadcast with PadNet. So we ask that you please refrain from as many side conversations as possible. We also ask that you hold your applause until the end of each panel session. Thank you so much for your cooperation. This evening, the forum will follow a format where all candidates will respond to questions asked by me. The questions were prepared by Leadership Long Beach alums. We've also been collecting questions from the audience, so please be sure to get your question to one of our volunteers. Please write legibly, we learned that 2 years ago, and keep your question focused on the races for City Council. The questions we're going to ask for the audience are going to be City Council questions. Following the question and answer session, each candidate will then provide a closing statement. So at this time, it's my pleasure to introduce the candidates from the Long Beach Community College Board of Trustees. The Long Beach Community College Board of Trustees, starting left to right. Area 2, Vivian Williams Mala'ulu. It rhymes with Honolulu. That's right. Irma Archuleta. Area 4, Doug Otto, and Davina Kaiser. Yeah, please applaud. I'll be asking the candidates 4 questions. Each will be allowed 1 minute to answer the question. Candidates will also be able to make a 1-minute closing statement. Candidates, right there, Mark right there with the hat on. He will be holding up a yellow card when you have 15 seconds left, and a red card when you're out of time. So do your best to respond within that minute. We don't have a hook, so you don't have to worry about that. So we're going to start now with our questions, but I first want to set this up. The Board of Trustees at the Community College is the governing body for the college. The college district is divided into 5 geographical areas. Trustees are elected from each area to serve 4-year terms. Tonight's focus is on areas 2 and 4. Let's start with area 2. The first question will go to Vivian Williams Mala'ulu. Question 1. At Leadership Long Beach, we believe in a set of principles that are essential to all great leaders. On the table in front of you is a list of those principles that we embrace. There's 14 in all. It seems to get bigger every year, so we're now up to 14. Please select one that resonates with you and tell us why. Vivian?
Thank you, John. This is quite a list, and all of these are qualities that I believe every leader should embody and certainly personify. The one that stood out the most to me is the word service. I think that as an elected official, you become a public servant, and everything that you do has to have the integrity of the office and also the interest of the public that you were elected to represent. Hopefully, the voters of West Long Beach will choose me to represent them on the board.
And in so doing, I will commit to serving them to the best of my ability, not only as a trustee, but also as their partner, as their neighbor, as their representative on the board. From the bottom of my heart, completely, head and heart of service. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivian. The next question is for Area 2 candidate Irma Archuleta. Irma, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, select one of these.
Right.
I would select vision. And the reason that I would select vision is that I think as a trustee, as well as an educator, we have to keep in mind the future of our youth. We have to be able to focus and plan not for the present, but plan for the future. It is vital, it is critical that we invest in our young people. So having a vision for the future is important. Generally, we tend to plan according to what feels comfortable for us, but we have to extend ourselves and
Sorry, Irma.
flexibility is also a key.
Exactly. Yeah. Shoot, Jeff, let's add flexibility to that list.
Flexibility is another element. So vision is vital, I think, for a leader, for an elected official, for a servant of the community, to have the vision for our future, for our future generations, for our young students, for our community. We have to plan for the future, not plan for the present, not plan for what is comfortable for us.
Thanks, Irma. That was spot on 1 minute, I think. Next, we'll go to Area 4 candidates. We'll start with Doug Otto. Want me to repeat the question, Doug?
No, I understand the question.
Okay.
And the leadership principle that I think I would like to pick is accountability. In the end, I think that it's important for elected officials to be accountable to the people that elect them. And at Long Beach City College, we take that very, very seriously. Since I've been on the board at Long Beach City College, we've adopted public goals. We give reports on how we're doing on those goals. We've initiated programs like the Long Beach College Promise, Promise Pathways, and other programs that we expect to be held accountable for how it is that they're doing. So accountability, I think, is something that is not often thought about with regard to education. And remember that when you are an educator and are engaged in education, it's not like you're setting strong policy like on a council. What you're doing is you're a steward of the institution.
Thank you, Doug. The next question is for Davina M. Kaiser. You want me to repeat the question, Davina?
No, I understand. Thank you.
Okay, sure.
Okay, well, the principle from Long Beach, Leadership Long Beach, that stands out to me is teamwork. Because as educators, as board members, as community members, we all have to work together to make the best educational experience for our community, for all students. And there is no I in teamwork. So it's not about me, it's about Long Beach, about having a community college that serves everyone in the city. Not just in Long Beach, but Signal Hill, Catalina, and surrounding areas, because we do get others as well. And teamwork, I think, encompasses all of these other leadership principles. You have to have integrity to work with your partners. You have to have respect for them. You have to have your values show. And you have to be accountable. And so, thank you.
Thank you, Davina. I've been told that the mic works best if you get up close to it. So we're going to move on to the next question. And this time we're going to begin with Irma. You get to go first this time. Here's the question. What role can Long Beach Community College play in providing or supporting A through G requirements for high school students?
What role does Long Beach City College play?
In providing or supporting A through G requirements for high school students.
Long Beach City College plays a vital role in working in collaboration with LBUSD, in that those students that are not eligible right out of high school to go directly to a university are then eligible to attend Long Beach Community College. Students who are taking their A through G courses, who complete their A through G courses, by the time they get to their senior year, are eligible to go directly into the university. The students, however, who, for whatever reasons, and there are various reasons why students sometimes don't complete the A through G requirements, then have the option to go to community college. So Long Beach City College plays a vital role in ensuring that these individuals have the opportunity to go to college as well, have an opportunity.
You can finish.
Okay, have the opportunity to complete their education and then transfer to a university.
Thank you, Irma. Vivian, you're next. Let me repeat the question.
It's okay, I got it.
Okay, you got it?
Thank you.
Great.
Thank
Sure.
you. First of all, just to clarify, for anyone who is unfamiliar with the A through G requirements, they are set forth by the UC and CSU systems, and a lot of other universities have adopted them, so that incoming students meet a certain number of requirements: 4 years of math, 4 years of English, 2 years of foreign language. That question is particularly relevant to my household. I have a current 10th grader, I have a current 8th grader, and we talk about A through G requirements quite a bit. As a professor at Long Beach City College, I work with students every day who are somewhere on their journey to meeting those requirements, and it's very important to understand that the community college population is really very unique. They're not all straight out of high school. Some of these students are adults transitioning different programs, and some of them are also returning veterans who would like to pursue a 4-year degree but haven't met their A through G requirements. So Long Beach City College is definitely a place that needs to address the needs of every student, regardless of where they are in their educational journey.
Thank you, Vivian. We'll move on to Area 4, and this time we'll start with Davina. Davina, it's a slightly different question. What is your perspective on career and technical education versus transfer education?
Well, I think that both have a place. It is important to be able to use Long Beach City College to save some money for students that need to do so in order to satisfy their general education requirements to transfer to a 4-year. But I also believe that it's equally important to provide pathways of certification for those that aren't going to go to a 4-year institution and that are going to need to get the skills so that they can get a job that they can support themselves with, not a minimum wage job that was never meant to support a family. And so I'm really pushing that we need to maintain those vocational education, career tech jobs as well. Because without them, I think we're doing a huge disservice to our community. And I know we eliminated 11 of those 3 years ago at the City College. So I think we need to seriously take a look at what we cut. Thank you.
Thank you, Davina. Doug, you're up. Want me to repeat the question?
Sure.
Be happy to. What is your perspective on career and technical education versus transfer education?
Career and technical education is really, really important, and we take it very, very seriously at Long Beach City College. We have 38 career and technical education programs, and we're adding new programs all the time. In fact, we got a $2.75 million Trade Adjustment Act for community college training just this last year, and we've started programs in alternative fuels, in cybersecurity, and we've worked really hard with industry to say, what do you need in the future? We've gone to the ports and say, I know that we've got to teach welding and sheet metal and things like that, but are there things that come together, and how would you like to see us do that? And I think that the best thing is to work with industries out there to develop the kind of curriculum so that people can do things.
Thank you, Doug. Okay, we have 2 more questions. before your closing statement. This time, we're going to start with Area 2. The question will be for Vivian. Here we go. Vivian, it was announced recently that City College will ask voters for an $850 million bond. What is your position on this bond measure and why?
I am 100% behind the board action to ask voters to approve the $850 million bond. It will work toward improving and continuing work that has already happened on campus, and it will also revitalize and enhance some of the construction projects on campus. The one thing that I probably, were I a sitting board member, have introduced is I would have asked the board to consider a senior exemption. I think that because we've got the mayor requesting a 1% income tax to be approved on the same ballot in June, some of our seniors, I'm an active member of the Retired Public Employees Association, even though I am years away from retirement. I am their newsletter editor. I think that our seniors are a population that need to be serviced and considered when bond measures and tax increases are proposed. So as a consideration, I would have proposed a tax exemptions for seniors. Other than that, I'm all for the bond measure, and I encourage our voters to please approve it. It would benefit our students.
Thank you, Vivian. Your turn, Irma. Would you like me to repeat the question?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I am in full support of the bond measure, simply because it's an investment in today and it's an investment in tomorrow. Our academic goals cannot be achieved without 21st century facilities. Thus, it's important that we upgrade our old facilities, that we create new facilities, that we upgrade our equipment, that we support the creation of state-of-the-art classrooms so that they can then in turn support the vocational and career programs that we will be sponsoring and that we sponsor at Long Beach City College. I believe that the bond measure, as an investment in today, will offer hundreds of local jobs for the community. So it's important that we invest. And yes, in terms of the senior exemption.
Go ahead and finish.
In terms of the senior exemption, I think we need to do an analysis to find out how that will work out. And if the seniors are exempt from it, that someone else has got to make up for the difference. So it's important to analyze before we move forward with that idea.
Thank you, Irma. Thank you so much. Let's move on to Area 4. You're up first this time, Doug. Want me to repeat the question?
No.
Okay.
I also fully support the bond measure. In fact, well, I'm supposed to be on a conference call right now with the bond team that's moving this forward. I was co-chair of the 2008 bond measure that brought a lot of improvements to Long Beach City College, and we need buildings to be improved for the kinds of jobs that we're trying to create at Long Beach City College. If you think about it, without the kinds of facilities that we've been building at Long Beach City College, like Building C on the liberal arts campus, where we have their nursing facilities. They have to do a state-of-the-art simulation labs for nurses training. We've got a new student services building at the Pacific Coast campus, and we need those kinds of facilities because kids, I shouldn't say kids, students learn differently than we did when we went to Long Beach City College, and we have to provide facilities that will facilitate education.
Thank you, Doug. You guys are great on the 1 minute thing. I just got a note that we're ahead of schedule. Can you imagine that? Your turn, Davina.
Thank you. Yes, I am in favor of an $850 million bond measure to upgrade our facilities at Long Beach City College, but I question the timing. We have a $750 million bond going on the November ballot for Long Beach Unified to upgrade our facilities, mainly to bring air conditioning into our very dated buildings. I can tell you, as a high school math teacher, in my classroom last fall, I had 117 to 120 degree temperatures in my room. trying to teach in those conditions doesn't happen. We really need to get that bond passed, and I think we should have worked with Long Beach Unified on the timing of that, because it seems that our K-12 really needs the bond more than updated facilities at Long Beach City College right now. Not that we don't need them in Long Beach City College, it's just the timing. Thank you.
Thank you, Davina. Let's move on to the final question before closing statements. This time we're going to start with Irma from Area 2. Here's the fourth question. If elected to the board, what will be your top priority in your first year?
Well, my top priority is affordability, accessibility. The parents in my district, as I imagine the parents sitting in this audience, are concerned, overly concerned about getting their sons and daughters into college. They are concerned with ensuring that their sons or daughters will get a degree within a reasonable time, that their sons or daughters will receive their degree, go on to the workforce, get a good paying job with a good living wage, a job that has growth opportunities. But above all, I think that parents are concerned and they want their sons or daughters to graduate from college without being in debt.
Thank you, Irma. The closed seems to come up when you're talking, Irma. It's happened like 2 or 3 times now. Sorry about that. But I think
Okay.
the library is now officially closed.
Okay, good to know.
So,
Flexibility, as I said.
yes,
is
absolutely.
important.
We're adding that to as the 15th principle at Leadership Long Beach. So Vivian, you're up. I'm going to repeat the question because it's similar. If elected to the board, what will be your top priority in the next year?
There are a number of issues that I would like to address as a board member, and all of them fundamentally relate to student achievement. And even though there are many arms and many extensions to student achievement, many ways that we can address that, I think the primary way, the principal way that we could address that is, I have students who fall below the 2.0 grade point average because they work full-time and they're trying to take care of a family, and there just aren't resources available to them on campus because of budget cuts and because so much of our staff, 741 part-time faculty members, 250 full-time faculty members, there just aren't office hours for these students. 37% of our student population falls under a 2.0. Addressing student achievement, I think, would be a priority of mine as a professor, making sure that our students have the resources and the support that they need from the faculty and from the college to be able to succeed and to do well on campus so that they can transfer and move on. That would encompass all of the priorities that I would have in the first year.
Thank you, Vivian.
Thank you.
Your turn, Davina. Let me repeat the question. If elected to the board, what would be your top priority in your first year?
My top priority would be to make sure that we are communicating with all of the community, all constituents through community forums, and those would be for everyone, including faculty and students. We need to open up dialogue and let them know that their values and their voices are valued, and that we're not just giving them lip service. I also believe that we need to collaborate with our K-12 and our higher ed together so that maybe we can improve the K-12 and eliminate some of our remedial classes that would free up monies for other classes at Long Beach CC. And so I think those are some things that we could improve, and that might bring back the career technical education that's been cut. That would definitely help a lot of my students. As a math teacher at Wilson High, I find a lot of my students can't go to Long Beach City College because the pathways that they want are no longer offered. Thank you.
Thank you, Davina. Doug, last question for you. If reelected to the board, what will be your top priority in the next year?
I like some of the other candidates have said, want to provide the highest quality, affordable education. Let me tell you some ways in which we can do that. First of all, California in general and Long Beach in particular doesn't get its fair share of Pell Grants, which are federal grants that can help students not only to pay tuition, but also to pay for other services, transportation, books, other costs that they have, because everybody knows from all the studies that if you go to school full-time and you go to school right away after you get out of college, you're much more likely to finish, to complete. And I've always been a champion of the completion agenda, and we can be smart by taking advantage of other programs that are available, like the Pell Grant program.
Thank you, Doug. So let's move on to closing statements. We're going to start with Vivian from Area 2. Vivian, your closing statement, please.
Well, thank you, everyone, for being here and taking the time to care about our education. It is my privilege to serve the community. I am a professor at Long Beach City College. I am very involved in our community. I taught high school for 17 years. I'm a career educator with more than 20 years of classroom experience, coordinatorship experience, advisor experience. I have worked with vocational training programs as a Perkins coordinator at the high school level, which directly worked with our local community colleges. I have a bachelor's in journalism from Cal State Northridge, a master's in educational administration from Cal State Dominguez Hills. I have 4 K through 14 teaching credentials in bilingual education. I'm a commissioner for the City of Long Beach. I'm chair of the Commission on Youth and Children. I'm also on the Board of Managers for the Greater Long Beach YMCA Early Childhood Education Program. My commitment to service with the city spans from my 4 children, my family was here, Parks and Recs, my kids' school, our church, and I am committed to serving Long Beach City College, transitioning from being a professor in the classroom to serving on the Board of Trustees. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivian. Irma, your closing statement, please.
Yes, as an educator, as a professional educator who has dedicated her time to serving students in the community, to working in higher education, I have spent 15 years working for community colleges. I have spent 18 years working at Cal State University, Long Beach. So my experience, coupled with my educational credentials, plus now my experience serving on the Board of Trustees, qualify me and make me the best candidate for this seat. In contrast to my opponent, my professional time, my professional experience has been dedicated to higher education. And so as a trustee, I will devote 100% of my time to the board, to the students of Long Beach City College, to the staff, and to the faculty of Long Beach City College. Thank you.
Thank you, Irma. Doug, your closing statement, please.
Okay, thank you. Long Beach City College is on an upward trajectory like it's never been before. Our work there has been recognized at the state level, at the national level, and I invite all of you to go to my website, Doug Otto for LBCC, that's F-O-R, not the Arabic number 4, and go to the publications area where what you'll see is article from November from the New York Times about the Long Beach College Promise. Go to that same website and see the Atlantic article about the Long Beach College Promise, where we are lauded throughout the country for the work that we do. But we've got challenges ahead that require strong, proven leadership. And I can provide that leadership. I've been providing that leadership. 6 years ago, I co-chaired the Commission on the Future of Community Colleges in California. I'm the incoming president of the Community College League of California. And 2 weeks from today, I will be at the White House working on the Long Beach College Promise from Long Beach Community College's perspective. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Davina, let's wrap this up with your closing statement, please.
Very good, thank you. Yes, when elected, I will be bringing a lot to the table. I've been a teacher in Long Beach since 1979, working solely for Long Beach Unified School District. I've worked grades K through 12, currently in the high school. And I'm a native of Long Beach, been here all my life. My parents both got their AA degrees from Long Beach City College, as did my husband. I also took classes there to supplement some of the things that I was studying. And I have a credential in both music and mathematics, have taught both. I understand the struggles, the challenges that we as educators face and that our districts face. I've served on our district's strategic plan, master plan, and communications committees, as well as various other committees. And I am a member of the Commission for State Commission for Professional Competence, which is involved in teacher dismissal hearings to make sure that our students have the best educators available to them.
Thank you, Davina. Let's give everybody a round of applause up here. Our 4 candidates from Long Beach City College. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. If you'd exit that way, it would be great. We're going to transition to the school board next. Thank you so much. So we're going to go ahead and get started in this second part of our evening tonight. We have 3 parts. We're going to be moving on to the race for Long Beach Unified School District Governing Board. With us tonight for those 2 races from District 2 is Felton Williams on your left and Jessica Vargas Alvarez. And then over here for District 4 is John Meyer and Rosie A. Pedersen. Thanks for joining us. Let's applaud. As you know, the board is the governing body for the school district. The district is divided into 5 geographical areas with an elected member from each area. Board members are elected to serve 4-year terms. The focus tonight, as I mentioned earlier, is on Districts 2 and 4. The format remains the same. There will be 4 questions and a closing statement. Candidates, please remember to keep your answers as close to 1 minute as possible. Now, the first group set the bar pretty high. I think most of them ended on 1 minute, just like that. So that's the bar. The first question is going to go to Felton Williams. Felton C. Williams, let me ask you the question. On the table in front of you is a list of principles that we embrace at Leadership Long Beach. If you are in the room for the first session, you'll know that there are 14 principles, and we're considering adding a 15th one. What was that 15th one again? What was it? Oh, flexibility, got it. So on this table in front of you, please select one that resonates with you, Felton, and why.
Well, I think, as an earlier speaker said, that a good leader has to embody all of these principles. But in terms of my response, I want to talk about teamwork because that's what has, I think, worked extremely well for the Long Beach Unified School District. We've got a group of committed folks that serve on the board that work very well together, and because of that, we have really moved the district forward as one of the top performing urban school districts in the nation and one of the top performing school districts in the world as part of the top 20 urban school districts in the world. It's because of the ability of all of our folks to put their partisan things aside and focus on the classroom and the kids. And we've done a good job of doing that. So I would feel that teamwork has been the asset that has made it work very well for our current board.
Thank you, Felton. The next question is for Jessica Vargas Alvarez. Jessica, you need me to repeat the question?
No.
Okay, good. Go ahead.
So first of all, thank you all for having us here, for having me here. I think I would choose from the leadership principles would be accountability. Accountability, in order for us to do meaningful changes, we need to make sure that we hold everyone accountable. As parents, myself, I want to ensure that we're accountable for our students, but not also a representative and who does policies and puts programs in place and hold it all across the table. Our children are being held accountable, so is our stakeholders all over the city. So I think it's very important that accountability is one of my priorities and what I would bring to the table as a leadership.
Thank you, Jessica. Next, we'll go to District 4 candidates, and the first question is for John Meyer.
Integrity is the most important quality I see on this list. I think a person of high integrity embodies values, beliefs, an ethos that speaks well to serving kids, teachers, and support staff in the community. You show me a person with high integrity, and I think he or she will embody every one of these characteristics that Leadership Long Beach has identified.
Thank you, John. The next question is for Rosie A. Patterson. Would you like me to repeat the question, Rosie?
No, thank you.
Okay.
I agree with all of these things. It's really hard to be the last person because I agree with everything that they're all saying, and I agree all of those principles are very important. I agree with my one that I really looked at, and it was to Irma's thought, is vision. I think all of our board members need to have a vision for what they see would be best for our students in the district, because as board members, we represent the parents and the children. So what is the best for our children? What's the vision? And again, I think John and all of us are right saying that we need to have teamwork because an effective board has to work together. And I know that when I'm elected, I'd be one of 5, and we have to learn how to work together. And I think all of us, John and everyone here knows that it's very important for a school board to work together and all have a vision.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rosie. And I'm pretty sure that you're going to have an opportunity to go first one of these times,
thank
too.
you.
Okay, I think we'll have enough questions
So I don't want
to
to-
give you that chance.
Thank you.
I hope that works for you.
Thank you.
Okay. So now we're going to move on to question 2, and we're going to begin with Jessica. And Jessica, here's the question. The state is now allowing school districts to redirect their allocation from the art and music block grant to fund other priorities. How would you balance the need to invest in arts education with other financial challenges facing the district?
With that question, being able to work together with our local schools to be able to balance the needs, because every school has different needs. So I think we would have to bring to the table the discussion of our local school administration and our school site councils to see what those needs are in order for us to be able to balance and to be able to move forward and be able to meet those needs.
Thank you. Felton, let me repeat the question. You're up next. The state is now allowing school districts to redirect their allocation from the art and music block grant to fund other local priorities. How would you balance the need to invest in arts education with other financial challenges facing the district?
Well, let me first of all say that the arts has always been a top priority for our district. Even when we were going through some severe budget cuts, we spared the arts. But let me just piggyback on something that Jessica mentioned. We have directed a lot of our decision-making down to our school sites, and they have the funding to go along with that. So the school sites basically would say that these are programs that they want to have at their particular school. And if those recommendations were all contained, we call them the single plan for student achievement. If those recommendations were part of increasing the academic success of the kids, then they would get approved by the board. But we put that capacity for making those kinds of decisions at the site level.
Thank you, Felton. So moving on to District 4, and here's your opportunity, Rosie.
Oh, I get to
because you
speak
get
next?
to get it first, and it's a different question.
Oh, okay.
So let me ask it. How can the district ensure equal opportunities for high and low achieving students?
That's a good question. The district does a lot to help students, and I think what happens is, and I'm going to give an example of this local control funding, where schools get a certain amount of money to determine what they want. But with the district, what they do is they hold some of that money back, so that so if a school site who's not giving it as much money to help their children, that they can actually ask the school district and say, could we have this person or program to help our students? So that's one way that we can equalize so that there's opportunities for both high and low students with this local control funding. And the district is very good about saying, helping everybody to make sure it's an even keel, even though some schools that have more money because of the area that they're in might not be able to give the same things. But our school district really does a lot to equalize and help all students. That's one thing about Long Beach, has always been that way.
Thank you, Rosie. John, you're up. Would you like me to repeat the question?
Please.
How can the district ensure equal opportunities for high and low achieving students?
Well, I think we have to begin at a very early age. Pre-kindergarten, transitional kindergarten begins that. We need to have benchmarks along the way at grades 3, 5, and 6 to discern where we need to intervene on behalf of these young people. And Rosie's exactly correct. Local control funding would give a school. Let me take one of my schools, Lowell Elementary School. Pretty high affluent area, a lot of parental interest, contributions to the welfare of the kids. David Starr King, different side of town. They receive more money, and rightly so, because those young kids, particularly English language learners, need to have an early intervention for them to be brought up to a proficient reading level. So they can hire additional special reading teachers, reduce their class size to 20 to 25 to 1 rather than 35, and make that good work happen.
Thank you, John. Okay, so we have 2 more questions before your closing statement. This time we'll start with District 2, and this question is going to be for Felton. What sets you apart from the other candidates running for this position?
What sets me apart? My entire career has pretty much been in education. 36 years in education. 12 of those years, 15 of those years in the CSU, 11 of those years in the community college, and continue work with the K-12 system during that time. I've served on the board for 12 years. I've done a lot of work in education, especially in the area of urban education, in terms of studies, research, and so forth. And a lot of that I've applied directly to the district, the current things that we do, in terms of our strategic planning, in terms of the ethnic studies program, in terms of the equity, in terms of the advanced placement and getting more kids of color involved in advanced placement. So that, I think, has been a very good thing for me to have that kind of experience, that I have been able to apply directly to my work on the board. And just more recently, implementing a town hall meeting as part of my Brother's Keeper by the President of the United States.
Thank you, Felton. Jessica, do you need me to repeat the question?
No, thank you.
Okay.
What sets me apart from my opponent, I'm a parent. I'm a parent. I am a product of the LBUSD, not only of myself, my husband as well. I'm frontline of what the issues are. I'm involved in these schools, so I know from ground roots what's happening inside of these schools. Another thing that I'm very involved with is our safety amongst our schools. We began I'm one of the co-founders of the Safe Passages, so I think it's very important that our children are safe coming to and from school. If we don't have if we don't have our students inside of our schools learning, then we have an issue and we have a problem that we need to start addressing. And that's one of the concerns that I'm dealing with now, and I'm dealing with that issue. That's what sets me apart from my opponent.
Thank you, Jessica. Let's move on to District 4. We're going to start with you this time, John.
Okay.
What sets you apart?
Well, education's in my blood. I'm a product of the Long Beach Unified School District, Willard, Jeff, and Wilson High School. My grandfather taught, my father taught, my wife taught, and I've taught in the Long Beach Unified. My experience includes 17 years as a history anthropology teacher, head football coach, athletic director, 14 years as a principal, K-12 school on Catalina Island. We opened up the one-room schoolhouse while I was there at the Isthmus. Then to Lowell Elementary School for 4.5 years, Lakewood High School for 3.5 years. Finished my career at Wilson High School. I've been past president of the Board of Education. Currently, I'm vice president. But I'd like to say that the stability of Carl Cohn before Chris Steinhauser for 10 years, Chris Steinhauser for 12 years, gives us the stability and continuity unheard of in a large urban district that leads to our excellence. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Your turn, Rosie. You want me to repeat it?
Yes.
What sets you apart from the other candidate running for this position who happens to be sitting right next to you?
Well, you know, John and I are both educators. I started out as actually an elementary teacher, and I taught at elementary, and then I got involved with English as a second language, and we started the first English as a second language program at the high school, so I really got involved with the high schools. And from there, I went on to run the staff development for the school district, and then I went to a wonderful position, and I was an administrator at the adult school. One of the things I want to do is bring back the adult school. And then my last job was principal of Continuation High School, which was really a wonderful position. I was very lucky in the school district to have so many varied positions, and really, again, like with John, working with kids. I have a funny story. I graduated from Millikan High School, and I ended up going back to Millikan High School to teach.
Thank you, Rosie. So, Rosie, I'd like you to take a deep breath because I'm going to ask you the fourth question first.
All right.
Okay? So, what do you believe are the two most critical contributions a school board member can make to the education of students?
Okay. Well, I'll give you an example, and I'm going to be talking about Felton. We as administrators saw the need of really pushing for career tech ed. And we did it the right way. We went to the superintendent and said, you know, could we talk about career tech ed? And so I and a couple of us others actually called, and Felton listened to us. And it was because of Felton Williams that we have our first career tech high school. So I think what I'm saying, school board members really need to listen to their community, what the community needs. They need to watch and see what children need and listen to the parents, because the parents will tell you things that are issues that they say, okay, how come I can't access this website? Why can't I do this? I have questions I want to ask. How am I going to get answers for this? And one of the things that I want to do is have a website so that parents could ask questions and have more transparency, because it's very hard sometimes for parents to come to meetings.
Thank you, Rosie. You're up, John. Would you like me to repeat the question?
Please.
What do you believe are the two most critical contributions a school board member can make to the education of students?
We need to put the intellectual and personal success of students foremost in every decision that we make. That entails us making sure that we hire and retain the best teaching force available, and we give them the support in the classroom they need to implement the new California standards. Secondly, school board members need to understand that there's a firm line between micromanaging and policy. We don't meddle in the affairs made at a school site by a principal. We establish policy and let our school leaders at the site handle their business.
Thank you, John. So we're going to turn to Jessica next. Jessica, let me repeat the question. What do you believe are the two most critical contributions a school board member can make to the education of students?
Establish meaningful decisions and policies in place that are meaningful for all students. That's one of the things that I believe. Another one, ensuring that every student has equal education all over our schools, not just in certain areas. So I think those are my two.
Thank you, Jessica. Final question for you, Felton. Would you like me to repeat it?
No, I
Okay.
get the question.
You got it?
Right. To basically understand the learning dynamics of students in our district, which is very important to have a broad perspective of what those learning dynamics are. And basically to make sure they are enfolded in the policies that will direct the superintendent to make that happen. In that regard, I think we do very well in looking at the very broad picture and saying this is the direction that our district needs to go, and making sure that the superintendent adopts those guidelines, and we hold the superintendent accountable to make that happen. And I agree with John that we don't meddle in the affairs of the local school sites. But I think one of the things that I was able to formulate as a member of the board was that we give our school sites accountability, responsibility for getting things done. And we don't allocate money to them just for the sake of allocating money, but they have to have a specific plan of action to receive that money and be able to show that they've accomplished the results.
Thank you, Felton. So Felton, take a deep breath because we're going to start with you on the closing statement. Remember, you have 1 minute, so your closing statement, please.
Okay, I have 36 years of experience in higher education, 12 years as a board member. I'm currently the president-elect of the Council of the Great City Schools, which is the advocacy body for the large urban school districts in America. Sitting on that body for the last 12 years, I've had a chance to look very broadly at education across the United States and see its impact in all the cities that are part of the Council of the Great City Schools. That has been very helpful for me in understanding some of the things that we deal with in Long Beach. And we have been able to make use of that in terms of the policy and moving our district forward. As you know, Long Beach is recognized as one of the top performing urban school districts in the world. And that's for a lot of reasons. That does not mean that we don't have things that need to be dealt with. We do. And those are things that we plan to deal with each and every day. So we know there are things that need to be done to bring all of our kids into compliance with growth and development. And we're very serious about that. All 72,000 of our kids need to make sure that they have a pathway to success. And we all feel like they are our kids. We feel very concerned about their welfare and the things that they need to get done. So who's the timekeeper, you or him? Thank you. So in that context, that's what I think it's all about, is making sure that we serve all of our kids and serve them equitably.
Thanks, Felton. Jessica, your closing statement, please.
As a 37 resident of the Long Beach Unified School District and being involved in my community, I have seen changes and a lot of positive changes growing, but we have a lot to work. We have a lot that we need to be making sure, we have a lot of challenges and a lot that we need to invest in our community. I believe in order for us to do that, we need to have representation. We need to make sure that those representations are hearing and investing in hearing the voices of all of our parents and those needs and around our school, Long Beach Unified School District. I've been involved, once again, I've been involved in school site councils. I sit in these boards. I hear the parents. I hear the needs of our students, not only our students, our youth, our children, K through 12. I hear them and listen to the needs, what they are, and I want to ensure that being elected, and once elected, I'm going to ensure that every single one of these needs are being met.
Thank you, Jessica. Now we'll move on to John. John.
Well, to paraphrase Sir Thomas More, I'm the teacher's good servant, but kids first. And I think that's what we're all about. The fact that we have been ranked as one of the top 5 urban districts in terms of performance in the world speaks to our wonderful teaching corps. Our teaching corps needs all of our support we can give them. They're asked to introduce and perfect the California standards now, which means going about their business in different ways, magnificent ways. But we need to foster and give them more support. They're killing themselves with work, and the more we ask them to do, the more they perform. But I think we need to venerate teachers and do all we can to support the great work they do with our kids.
Thank you, John. So, Rosa, you get to wrap this up with your closing statement, please.
Thank you. I'm going to concur with John because both of us want to fight for a smaller class size. And what I've seen in other districts, Bellflower has 24-1 in K3. We need to fight for smaller class size for our teachers. Common Core is going to put a lot of stress not only on the teachers but on the little ones. The other thing we really need to do, and John is saying the same thing, we need to increase the support staff at schools. But we have to look at our budget and see if we can do it within our budget. The other thing that's a big issue now is how we can ensure access to modern technology. That's the other other issue that's coming up. These little ones have to take their tests on computers. That's going to be a whole different frame. The other thing that I'm thinking about, and all of us are thinking about, is to ensure that we have careers, and we encourage students to really look and think about careers and help them thinking about their careers. And the other big thing, and I'm hearing this from the community, is we need to support more internships for our kids so that they're ready to work. And then if they decide to go to college, they can go to college. And last but not least, transparency so that our parents know what's going on. They're willing to have a website to find out what questions that they need help, because it's a whole different world now with this new Common Core. And last but not least, I want to bring back adult ed for our community. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So this concludes the second portion of our 2016 Leadership Long Beach Citywide Candidate Forum. We're going to take a break, but before we take a break, let's thank these courageous folks up here.
My name is Jeff Williams. I'm the Executive Director of Leadership Long Beach. And you met one of our other community partners earlier with the library, and Glenda was here earlier. Thank you again, Glenda. One of our other partners, and the whole reason we're doing this is to inform the residents about the future leadership of our city. Here comes the city clerk. So this is we're really happy to have our new city clerk, Maria, here with us, and she's going to say a few words.
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you, Leadership Long Beach, for having me here today and giving me the opportunity to speak with you about the upcoming April 12th election. The last time I saw these folks, for the most part, was when they came to file for their candidacy for the council district offices that they're running for. So it's a pleasure to see them all here tonight to talk to you about their interests and positions on the issues that are affecting residents here in the city of Long Beach. And so one of the things that I did with them was to administer the oath. And I want to administer a different kind of oath today. If I can have you raise up your right hand.
Just them?
Yes, just them. Okay. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
I swear. I do. Amen. Nothing but the truth, so help me God.
So, good, that's good to hear. As Jeff said, my name is Maria de la Luz Garcia, and I'm the new city clerk for the city of Long Beach. Thank you. Since starting my position in late August last year, I've had a real great time getting to know my staff and getting to know the City Hall colleagues that work in the building with me. And as we've gotten closer to Election Day, my staff and I have worked really hard to make sure that this election and the one coming up on June 7th is going to be a good voting experience for our voters here in Long Beach. Part of making sure that that happens is by doing a couple of things and providing options for our voters. So the first voting option that we want to make sure to offer our voters that we will be offering is vote by mail. So for those of you who might be busy on Election Day and have a demanding schedule or like the comfort of voting from your home, we offer vote by mail. And voting by mail begins March 14th and runs through April 5th. So you can apply to vote by mail through the city clerk website. It's also part of the official sample ballot that we send to all registered voters in Long Beach. And you can sometimes receive it from the campaign information that the candidates send out. So voting by mail is one good option to make sure that your voice is heard. The second option is voting early. You can vote early at the office of the city clerk and vote using the vote by mail process in person. How many of you know where the office of the city clerk office is located? That's great to know. The office of the city clerk is located in City Hall at the lobby level, and anybody who wants to come in and vote in person and utilize the vote by mail method can come in to vote in person between March 14th and April 5th. This is also a good way for voters who might need some extra assistance in voting by utilizing the eSlate device, which provides language assistance as well as accessibility for people with disabilities. And then for those of you who like going to your polling place on election day, we're going to have 169 polling places in this election on April 12th. Polling places are going to open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And once you're there, we're going to have poll workers greet you at the door and provide you with your ballot so that you can exercise your right to vote. For those of you who might also need language assistance or accessibility, we also have bilingual poll workers at the polling places, as well as accessibility voting booths and magnifying glasses for people with visual impairments. Now that I have you up here, I do want to talk a little bit about the June 7th election. The June 7th election, while I do hope that we get clear winners in the primary, we may need to go into a runoff election on June 7th. And in the city of Long Beach, the runoff election has been a time where we cast or we utilize what we call Two Vote Tuesday, which is voters are required to, in the past, go to a polling place and check into 2 different tables, get 2 different ballots, and cast their ballots into 2 different ballot boxes. This year, I'm happy to announce that we're working with the County Registrar Recorder County Clerk's Office to simplify the voting experience in Long Beach. And that means that when you walk in to vote on Election Day, June 7th, you're going to walk in and be greeted by 1 set of poll workers, get a statewide ballot and a local ballot, vote your ballots, and then cast them into 1 ballot box. So you will no longer, thank you. You will no longer have to figure out or navigate a confusing process that is both confusing for you and for our workers. And none of that would have been possible without the help and leadership and coordination of Los Angeles Registrar Recorder County Clerk. So a special thanks to them. And with that, I do want to remind you to be vocal, vote local. That's our campaign, our outreach campaign for this year. And exercise your right to vote. Vote on April 12th, and we wish you the best of luck. If you have any questions or want more information on the election, go to the Long Beach City Clerk's website, longbeach.gov/cityclerk, where you can find information on the election, including candidate statements, and more information on the location, time, and options for voting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maria. I really appreciate you being here. Maria, I got a kick out of the Two Vote Tuesday that you said. I used to live in Chicago, and every election day was Two Vote Tuesday. I just want you to know that. So, welcome back to the 2016 Leadership Long Beach Citywide Candidates Forum. I'm John Glaza. I'll be your moderator. This part of our evening will focus on City Council candidates Districts 2, 4, 6, and 8. Thank you for those that arrived, and thank you for those that came back. We appreciate it. Before we jump in, I'd like to recognize the elected officials in the room. Do I have that list? Anybody? Other than a couple up here, do we have any other elected officials? No. Okay. We have plenty of questions, by the way. Hello? Daryl. Yeah, Daryl's going to speak, actually. We have Daryl. Hi, Daryl. We'll get to you. Okay, so who else is here? Ray Gablich, former council member. Who else? Megan Kerr. Anyone else? I guess we didn't get that handoff, by the way, so sorry for that. We'll do better in 2 years. Melody is here as well. Okay. So let's move on, you guys. We've kept you in suspense for too long. I'd like to take a moment to review the format. I'll be asking each candidate 4 questions. Each will be allowed 1 minute to answer the question. Candidates will also be able to make a 1-minute closing statement. Candidates, Mark Magdaleno here with the hat on, right there. Mark. He'll be holding up a yellow card when you have 15 seconds remaining. and a red card when you're out of time. We really appreciate you sticking to the 1 minute limit. So let's set this up. The city is divided into 9 geographical districts with an elected member from each district. Members are elected to serve 4-year terms. Again, our focus tonight is on our even districts, 2, 4, 6, and 8. Starting from left to right, I'd like to introduce the folks in District 2, Janine Pierce, Eric Gray, Joanne Garnica. Daryl Supernow is down here, and he'll be speaking for 3 minutes in a couple minutes. Robert Harmon, Josephine Villasenor, Eric Miller, and Dee Andrews, Lori C. Angel, Al Austin II, and Wesley Turnbow. Let's begin with the first question for the candidates from District 2. The order of candidates was determined based on how they are listed on the city clerk's election website. So the first question will go to Janine Pierce. Let me read the question. On the table in front of you, they're still there, right? On the table in front of you is a list of principles that we embrace at Leadership Long Beach. There's 14 of them, and if any of you were here earlier, we added a 15th one as a result of one of the first forums. And what was that again?
Flexibility.
Flexibility, thank you very much. It's not that I'm forgetful, it's just I'm just having fun with it. I am a little forgetful, by the way. Please select one that resonates with you. So Janine, go ahead and go first.
It's a great question. This is a wonderful list of principles, and to choose just one that sticks out is, I would say, integrity. When we are electing council members to represent us, we're electing council members to represent us from Ocean Boulevard to 10th Street to Redondo, whether you're a voter or you're a resident that doesn't have access to voting. And integrity to me means always allowing a seat at the table for everybody and making sure that we're representing the best interest of everyone in our city. And that means being honest, that means being truthful, that means if there's a disagreement, being honest about that disagreement. If it means that I believe in something like the minimum wage, that I stay true to that all the time, not sometimes. Integrity to me is really important because I believe that when we govern with integrity, voters feel that, they know it, and they're encouraged to be civically engaged. Integrity is so important to ensure that we have civic participation and trust of all residents in this city. So thank you.
Thank you, Janine. Eric, you're next. Do you need me to repeat the question? Okay, go ahead.
Well, I'm going to say vision. I think the 2nd District is a district in transition. We have a growing downtown with great community groups and development happening across our entire downtown. We have business corridors across the 2nd District, including the Broadway corridor, 4th Street Retro Row, 7th Street and 10th Street. We have the East Village and Promenade Pond and the waterfront. And I believe we need a council member with a vision to bring the 2nd District to a better place. We have a great city here in the city of Long Beach. We have a great community, and I plan to collaborate with all the council members across all the districts, but I think the 2nd District needs a council member with vision.
Thank you, Eric. Now, Joanne Garnica.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity today to answer these questions before you. All of these are very, very important. The one thing that I find probably the most important, and I'll agree with my opponent Janine, is integrity. Someone with integrity will embody all of these things, as John, my former principal, said earlier. Mm-hmm. But integrity is really important. We have a lot of major assets in the 2nd District and citywide, and so we are one of 9 votes that will make decisions for the entire city. But having a lot of the major city assets in the 2nd District, we need to make sure that as those big players are at the table, that we lead with integrity. So there's no one big player who has a lead over another, and that everyone has a seat at the table.
Thank you, Joanne. So now we're going to ask Council Member Daryl Supernow to come up and speak for about 3 minutes, Daryl. And I'd be happy to ask you a bunch of questions, but we didn't really plan on that.
Test.
Is that hot?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
And Mark will time you.
All right. Start the clock. And thank you. Thank you to Leadership Long Beach for the invitation to speak here tonight. This is not in my comfort zone. I think all the attention should go to the folks up there. I gladly defer to them by not having an opponent tonight. But just a little bit of, one thing that Maria Garcia did not mention, she gave you 3 alternatives for voting. The 4th is only have one guy running, then you can stay home. Just a little, if Maria's still here, just a little housekeeping. For those of you who don't know, it costs, well, I see Daisy at the side there. Hi, Daisy. It costs about $210 to file, and then if you want a ballot statement, that's about $1,300 plus change. So it's a big commitment. You have to pay that whether or not you have an opponent or not. So just a little housekeeping. I need that refund check when you get a chance. Thank you. But on a serious note, if anyone followed my election a year ago, I had a lot of opposition. Tonight I have none. So as I said, I prefer this alternative. But I really enjoyed the race last year in really getting in touch with the residents again. I'd run in 2012 and walked the district twice. I actually came in first in the primary and then another 6 weeks, which I don't wish upon anyone here, for the runoff. And I wasn't successful there, but I came back again. I think that I don't generally give advice, so I'll just say if anyone has any questions, I've been through it all in terms of elections. As I said, I've won a primary, I've been in a runoff. While you folks were probably at the Grand Prix during, at 2012, April 2012, I was in the basement of City Hall in a recount. So actually we had a couple of recounts for that election in 2012. Also interesting in the runoff, well, I won't get into the runoff, but I wasn't successful there. But it's just that you encounter a lot in these elections, and it's just a real, try to enjoy the experience as much as you can. And feel free to reach out if you have any questions at all. So really, I think that's all I have tonight. I think that if I can say anything about leadership, it's just right here. It's going through this experience, stepping up and doing this part. I was a community advocate for 30 years, but I'd never done this, and this is a whole new experience and really speaks to your leadership ability and your willingness to help the community. And as I end each of my speeches, go forth.
Thank you, council member. Let's move on to District 6, where we have 4 candidates. We're going to start with Robert Harmon. And let me just repeat the question really quick. On the table in front of you is a list of principles that we embrace at Leadership Long Beach. Please select one that resonates with you and tell us why.
Integrity. And they're all important here, but as a rookie politician and learning the ropes and learning how, knowing how politics works as someone from the outsider, and learning how it works as someone who's wants to do good for the community, do good by all the people, I really think integrity is the most important of all virtues when one is entering this realm. I believe it's more than just a word. It's something that is a driving force. It's your moral compass. It defines a person. And you got to do the right thing all the time. Not just some of the time, not when it's just convenient. You do the right thing all the time, every time.
Thank you, Robert. Next will be Josephine A. Villasenor, and make sure that you talk as close to the mic as possible. So,
Is this okay?
yeah, that's great.
I pick courage. All of these here are actually me, but courage is what I picked. You have to have courage to stand up to the gangs. You have to have courage to stand up for your community. You have to stand up and have courage for the right, to do something right, to have courage to stand up for what's right. You can't back down. I'm a stage 2 cervical cancer. I'm a fighter and I'm a survivor. And that's why I picked this courage.
Thank you, Josephine. Next will be Eric Miller.
Hey, can you read the question for me one more time?
Certainly, Eric.
Thanks.
On the table in front of you, or near you, I hope, is a list of principles that we embrace at Leadership Long Beach. You might remember all of them from when you were in the class. Of course,
Right.
that's usually what happens.
Absolutely.
We all remember all of them, right?
Right.
Please select the one that resonates with you and tell us why.
For me, when it comes to leadership, the most important aspect is accountability. I think that everybody goes into a leadership role with goals and principles, but it's really the transparency of owning those goals and showing people that, yes, I was successful there and I wasn't successful there. That is really where you embody the true aspects of leadership.
Thank you. Dee Andrews is next from District 6. Dee, you need me to repeat the question?
No, no, no.
Okay.
No, very fine. Before we get started, I just want to let Mr. Super know what you went through was nothing what I had to go through, but it was okay. And I picked the one out of here. It's called service, because the fact that living in the district in which I live in, I think service is very important, because all the years that I've been in the city of Long Beach and the time that I served on the council, service isn't something that's been lacking in my community, because the fact is always we'll get to you when we can. And I think that to me was something that made me very, very encouraged about, I know I can make a difference in that district in which you live in for most of your life. And so I think service is something that you have to, reach out for your community and the people that lives there to let them know you're there and you're going to fight for them. And I really, really feel very serious about that commitment that I've been doing for the 6th District. Thank you.
Thank you, Dee. Let's finish up this first round of questions with District 8. We'll start with Lori C. Angel. You need me to repeat the question, Lori?
No, not at all.
Okay.
And you can leave off the middle initial.
Okay.
Thank you so much for having us tonight. I think it's wonderful that people come together and we learn a little bit about each of the candidates. It's very difficult to pick one of the words, because I think each of the words are important in and of their own, in and of themselves. I picked respect. It's respecting the process, respecting citizens, respecting each other, respecting your neighborhoods, your colleagues, the public when they come to speak to the city council, listening to what they have to say, deliberating on what they have to say, and respecting quality of life. And all of the elements that occur and how they affect each of the areas is respecting each other in terms of ensuring that we have a quality of life and that not one area is unduly affected over another. That's it.
Thank you, Lori. Next will be Al Austin, the second.
Thank you, and you can leave off the second.
Okay, and I'll be using first names from here on out, if that's okay with everyone.
I do this to honor
Okay.
my dad, of course.
I get it, yeah.
And each of these principles are extremely important to me. I think, as a leader, I try to embody all of them, but the one that stands out to me the most is courage. I think it takes a lot of courage, number one, to run for public office or to even serve in public office, because you stand in the limelight. You're always scrutinized. Every decision you make, every word you speak is scrutinized by the public and the press. But courage, I think, is extremely important for us and for me as an elected official, particularly representing a district like the 8th District that is one of the most economically diverse districts, or if not the most economically diverse districts in the city. And so invariably, no decision is going to make everybody happy, right? When you have a district like my district. And I've strived to have balance and to make decisions that I believe are in the best interest of my district at all times. And oftentimes, on the city council, you're making decisions that are going to make your friends not happy with you. But if you are making decisions, I guess, for the greater good of the city and for the greater good of the city, of the district, I sleep well at night knowing that. In my work and profession, I am constantly asked to be courageous and to stand up for others and stand up for those who don't necessarily have a voice for themselves, and I continue to do that as a city council representative.
Thank you, Al. Last comment on question 1 is to Wesley Turnbow. Wesley, you need me to repeat anything?
No, thank you.
Okay, sure.
What a pleasure to be here this evening. Looking down the list, accountability is the word I want to follow up on. The big reason maybe is certainly a top 3 that I'm running in our district that I hold so dear is connecting with every neighborhood in our district, with every person. I want to bring forums, I want to bring town hall meetings, I want to bring long-standing places, whether it's a coffee shop in all the neighborhoods, where we can again connect with our city council and with our government. I want to make sure that every voice is being heard across that very diverse district of ours. And so, my wife and I, Michelle, have been knocking on doors. That's what you do when you run election, but it's also what you won't do when you want to know what everyone thinks. And with over 1,900 doors by the two of us knocked on, we are finding out what people care about and how to connect to the city.
Thank you, Wesley. Now we'll move on to question 2, and we're going to start with Eric from District 2. Here's your question, Eric. What is your position on the proposal to increase the local sales tax by 1 cent, and why?
Well, I certainly support putting the 1% on the ballot for voters to decide, and here's why. I think over the past 8 years, Mayor Bob Foster has done a lot to work with our budget, fiscal responsibility. I think he's done pension reform, proportional budget cuts, and I think there's different ways to raise revenues for the general fund in order to pay for police and fire. We've lost 77 sworn firefighters, and we've lost many police officers over the years, and as we're developing our city, and I certainly support development, our firefighters are overburdened as it is, and we need to ensure that our first responders can get to residents. And we have a lot of property crime in the 2nd District in particular. We need to make sure we have enough police officers as well. We've tried utility user tax in the past, but voters voted against that. And we also tried Measure I, and that was a parcel tax. And I do have concern about a parcel tax on property owners because, quite frankly, rents will go up if we do charge a parcel tax. And I think the sales tax suggestion puts it on residents and visitors. But that being said, I think we need to do business-friendly initiatives as well.
Thank you, Eric. You're up next, Joanne. Need me to repeat the question?
I have it, thank you.
Okay, sure.
So I have major concern about this sales tax increase. There are a lot of things that either have just been recently implemented or will be on the ballot or will be implemented that affect us financially as residents here in the 2nd District. So adding one more thing is a little bit worrisome to me. One, the fact that we need to find sustainable ways to increase our general fund and to bring revenue to our general fund for long term, and then not just adding a burden to our residents and our businesses here in the city of Long Beach. We need to make sure that we put ourselves in a position to thrive and succeed and compete with surrounding cities and surrounding municipalities. We don't want to burden ourselves and cripple ourselves into no movement or lack of success.
Thank you, Joanne. Bonnie from District 2, Janine. Need me to repeat the question?
No, I don't.
Okay,
Thank you.
You got it.
I am supportive of the 1% tax increase, particularly supportive of letting the voters vote on it. But I want to make sure that we play an active role in educating what the 1% is and how that will affect our resources and our communities. Number one is that our general fund has not grown with the cost of inflation in the last 10 years. And so while I support the concept of 1%, it has to be a very small part of how we grow our general fund. And so I support it alongside looking at other ways to grow our general fund. I'm sure we will hear a lot tonight about staffing of our fire and our police. I believe a number one priority needs to be staffing our fire. We have lost 77 firefighters, but we're also increasing density. We're increasing how many residents live in downtown. And at a federal level, we're not able to keep up with what's required to make sure that people are safe. I would also say that while we're going to talk you're going to hear a lot about police and fire, a number one thing in this is infrastructure. When we knock on doors, we hear about alleyways, we hear about street repavements, and we need this to make sure that we can build a green infrastructure that's long-lasting for all of our residents. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Janine. Let's move on to District 6, where we'll start with Josephine. Here's the question. What is your position on the proposal to increase the local sales tax by 1 cent and why?
I support it. I am with the Long Beach CERT, which is a community emergency response team. That's a program with the fire department, and we do need the safetyness of the fire department. We need more firefighters, we need more police officers, and hopefully that this tax will bring back the gang unit that we need in our communities. So I am highly supportive of it.
Thank you, Josephine. Eric, you're up next.
Yes, and so I am in 100% support of the sales tax, 1%, for a number of reasons. The first reason is because some of that money is going to be allocated to providing more service providers, which we're talking about the police officers and fire. And when we're talking about the 6th district that has the highest crime rate in our city, that is a vital part of improving that neighborhood. I also appreciate the aspects of job training and all of those things entitled in the whole aspect of the 1%. So yes, I'm in support of it.
Thank you, Eric. D, you're next.
Yes, thank you. You know, myself, I'm in total support of this 1% tax, raise, but I really would think a lot of times no one wants to be taxed, but I think when we think of a 1% tax increase, what it would do for the 6th district, because of the fact that, all of you individuals, if you've been here as long as I have, you know any dollar is a good dollar for us. And I think this is where we can do so much with this 1% tax rate. Because, we have, sure, crime is up, and the thing about it, but crime is up everywhere. But the thing about it, having policemen, having firemen, and the things that we really need for our 6th district, especially when you talk about our infrastructure, that is one of the most important things, I think, right now that we need to do in a district like mine, because the fact that a clean city is a good city. And this is where I think without the money, but now we're finally getting a chance to be able to show you that we are doing things in that district in which I've lived in for so long. And I think this will be a great idea for this 1% tax increase. Thank you.
Thank you, Dee. It's your turn, Robert. You want me to repeat the question?
No.
You got it?
No, I got it. I met with Mayor Garcia and the city managers, Tom and Pat, and the 2 chiefs on Monday, and I'm a little skeptical about it as a taxpayer. I believe in being fiscally conservative, fiscally responsible, and I believe that this is a bitter pill we will indeed need to take. We have to do the right thing. We have infrastructure that needs to be maintained. It's been deferred maintenance. We pay now or we pay later. This tax actually, I think, would be a good deal in the overall scheme of things. The Long Beach voters have passed every tax that they voted on except for our own. We need to pass our own tax. And I think the 6th district residents, when I asked about how it's going to affect the people who live in the 6th who are typically underneath that median income, well, it's not groceries, it's not medicine, and I think that they will get a lot more out of the tax increase than what they put in. So I'm going to try and sell it to the 6th district.
Thank you, Robert.
Don't like it, but we kind of got to do it.
Thank you, Robert. So we're going to move on to District 8, and we're going to start with Al this time.
Well, thank you very much. And obviously, I voted in support of putting this on the ballot. I think after having many conversations with numerous 8th district voters and residents over the years, I know that this is infrastructure and public safety is something that they value highly. I think this is a values conversation for the residents of the city of Long Beach. What do we value? And how much do we value? And what do we want to see for the future of our city? I think Long Beach is, in many respects, on the verge of being a world-class city or a third world city. When you look at our infrastructure and the public safety needs before us. I'm proud of the improvements that I have personally been able to make in my district over the last 4 years. Just about every neighborhood has had infrastructure investment and improvements. But we haven't gone far enough, and we still have a long way to go. Parks need to be built and sustained. Street repairs need to happen. Curbs and sidewalks in many of our neighborhoods are failing, as well as and alleys are in disrepair. And so this initiative has unanimous support of the city council, as well as 2 former mayors that everybody respects, and our existing mayor. It's something we have to do.
Thank you, Al. Next, we'll have Wesley. Wesley, do I need to repeat the question?
No, thank you.
Okay, sure.
So we must address crime, and we must address our streets and sidewalks. But raising sales tax is a short-term game. Since earning degrees in business and law at USC, I have grown an aerospace company, a 50-year-old aerospace company, into a strong corporation. You don't do that with short-sightedness. You have to assume you're there forever, and you look at problems from that viewpoint. We spend $9,000 every man, woman, and child in Long Beach, instead of $12,000 like the average city. You know how much money that is lost? It's hundreds of millions, over $100 million a year.
We have to start doing things that don't just say we're business friendly, but actually are business friendly. Because businesses bring jobs, and we want good jobs. Businesses and jobs bring taxes far more than you can get out of a short-term 1% sales tax. We have to start looking to the future and stop doing these little things that just say, once again, don't come to our city, because if you do, we're going to hit you hard trying to make it better.
Thank you, Wesley. You're up, Lori. Do I need to repeat the question? Okay.
Well, of course, we're all in favor of police, public safety, fire, infrastructure improvements. The question is how do you go about it? From my perspective, I think offering the public a sales tax increase is, first of all, it wasn't vetted in the public, so we don't even know if it's the best alternative. It was brought forward, and that's what we get to vote on. Second of all, I think it's a terrible impact on our business, our local businesses. It's going to be a burden on people that don't make very much money. I mean, we're going to have among the highest sales tax rate in the state, so I think that's problematic. The next thing is accountability. So we have a mayor appointed in terms of this measure. We have a mayor-appointed committee of 5 individuals, and they're going to make suggestions or recommendations. But the truth is that the language in this is written in such a way that the money could actually be spent on anything. There's no guarantee that it's going to be spent on public safety and infrastructure, and that the existing budgets will stay in place.
Thank you, Lori. Now we're going to move on to question 3. We're going to start with District 6 this time, and it's Eric's turn to go first. So here's the question. What do you consider to be the most important issue in your district, and how will you lead your constituents through it?
Well, I think everybody who knows our city knows about the violent issue that we have in the 6th district. Unfortunately, you know exactly when you enter the 6th, you know exactly when you leave it because you see the graffiti. You know the issues about crime there. So that would be my #1 priority getting in there, getting in the city council position. For those that know, I was the chair of gang reduction, intervention, and prevention for the city of Long Beach for 2 years. I also work for a mentoring program here in the city of Long Beach, all with an act to help reduce the acts of violent crimes and reduce these harsh things that are happening in central Long Beach.
Thank you, Eric. Dee, you're going to go next, and I'm going to repeat the question for you.
Thank you.
What do you consider to be the most important issue in your district, and how will you lead your constituents through it?
Yes, thank you for that question. I think the #1 question is, public safety. I think everyone realized that because the fact that without public safety, we will continue to have these, uphills as far as you talk about crime. I look at our district and you talk about, crime, how it is in the 6th district. I don't think a lot of you have been here long enough to know how crime really was back in the 90s. And that's what I do not want to see happen, in the near future. We don't have a solid, like a little magic wand to stop all of that. But I think a lot of you have to understand that Prop, 47 and Prop 109, and you talk about Prop 47, this was able where the government allowed, the Sacramento allowed a lot of these people to come out of jail because of overcrowdedness. So where did they go and where did they come from? Most of them did come from the 6th district. So if they're back, what are they going to do? We have to give them some hopes and dreams, and maybe we can stop a lot of the gang violence. I'm not saying, I don't see too many adults running around shooting, killing each other. These are young kids. So what do we do for them? I hope we'll have a situation because a job, I say, always stop a bullet, but that's not always the answer too. We have to have better solutions, and I think I'm working on that as we speak now with some of the things I'm planning to put on the table. Thank you.
Thank you, Dee. Robert, you're next. You need me to repeat the question?
No.
Okay.
Everyone living in the 6th district knows that safety is our biggest concern. We can't just police ourselves out of it. I will make sure that the anti-gang tactical units are back in their body armor, back in their unmarked Crown Vics, back in our neighborhoods on patrol, so we can have a less than a 3-minute response time. Yes, we'll get tough on crime. However, you can't police your way out of it. We need to look at economic injustice. We need to look at why people are drawn to a life of crime. Why is there not the opportunities out there? Why do people graduate from our high schools and not have any kind of level of financial literacy? Why aren't people producing? Why aren't people able to go out there and make a way for themselves? No, we can't police our way out of it. We're going to be tough on crime, but we got to find out what's causing it. Let's extend the ladder to people and make people become homeowners. Let's give them a way to move up. So let's take care of the people, and then hopefully, we'll see crime diminishing naturally.
Thank you, Robert. Josephine, let me repeat the question for you. What do you consider to be the most important issue in your district, and how will you lead your constituents through it?
The important issue in 6th District is the gangs, the gang violence, the human trafficking of the gangs recruiting the elementary kids now to sell their drugs, to recruit them to do initiation shootings. I started the Wrigley Community Watch in April 2015 when I was viciously attacked by 2 drug dealers. I started that because nothing was getting done because of Proposition 47, the police told me. So I started patrolling my streets. I started doing it at nighttime, during the daytime, making sure that the kids walked to school, safety. I did it from 10 p.m. to about 4 a.m. in the morning. I've stopped 2 buildings that were dealing drugs. I've cleaned those up. I've stopped 2 human trafficking from the East Side Longos, Washington area. That's where they're at, and I'm going to be there. I'm going to be the leader, and I'm going to step up and try to clean up as much as I can there.
Thank you, Josephine. We're going to start with go to District 8 now, and Wesley, you're going to have a chance to go first here. What do you consider to be the most important issue in your district, and how will you lead your constituents through it?
I think it's impossible at this point in our city's history to not say crime. So I'm the husband of 22 years, and I'm fathering 6 children growing up in the neighborhood where I grew up. This issue of my family being safe is first priority. It's job one, and that's true for any father or any mother. Like so many, I'm concerned about it, and we need to dedicate our police to it. We need to actually negotiate. We have 6 contracts coming up with public unions, and we need to negotiate hard. And this time, make sure we get more police on the streets. Instead of cutting the police like we have 3 of the last budgets, we can't continue to cut our protective services. We've got to grow it. And we've got to work hard with those who are running those services, the chief of both the fire and the police, and make sure we're figuring out how to get more boots on the ground with our money.
Thank you, Wesley. Lori, you're next. Most important issue in your district. How will you lead your constituents through it?
Well, I can't deny that it would be safety, but I'm going to take a little different tact. I think it's a long-term, long-range issue, and just getting police on the streets. First, that's a budgetary issue that the city has got to figure a way to get the necessary funding to be able to do that, and we understand that. But I think it starts with our youth. I think it starts with the young people, giving them constructive things to do, to ensure that they grow up with responsibility, understanding right from wrong, that they attend to their education, that they are committed to a path and create a vision for themselves that's a healthy vision, that they don't get mixed up with the wrong people, that they have alternatives. If you can stop the pipeline of children becoming gangbangers and turning it to a life of crime, I think in the long run, it'll be much better. Thank you.
Thanks, Lori. Al?
Thank you for the question, and I do think safety is an important issue. It is a priority. We budget about almost 70% of our budget goes toward public safety as is, and it's still not enough. But the question, what is the most important issue facing the residents of the 8th District? And it depends on where you live. I will just say that. Half of my district, it is very important that we manage airport noise and that we have a balanced approach to our airport. Understanding that quality of life is tantamount in many of our neighborhoods, including Bixby Knolls and Los Cerritos and the Adams and Carmelitos. Many residents are impacted by that noise, and we're going to continue to work hard to make sure that our noise ordinance is protected and that we have balance at our airport. The other issue is economic development, another issue that I've been very, very strong on.
And we have to do a better job, particularly in our north area of the city, attracting small businesses and developing our corridors, bringing jobs and opportunity and retail opportunities to the residents there. And so I think it depends on where you live in the 8th District. It's either the airport or economic development.
Thanks, Al. District 2 is next. And Joanne, you get to go first this time. Do I need to repeat the question?
I have it, thank you.
Sure.
So we live in a very diverse district in 2nd District. We have high-rise buildings downtown, and we also have charming single-family home neighborhoods such as Rose Park and Carroll Park. We also have the low-rise apartment building neighborhoods as well. And the thing that unites us all is all of the quality of life issues. I would say one of the big ones is parking in the 2nd District. We're highly parking impacted. And when I have to hear stories of people driving around for an hour to find parking when they come home, that has to be pretty challenging, especially if you have a family to get to or dinner to cook and you've worked a really long day. I'm the only candidate here in the 2nd District who has added parking to my neighborhood. I've worked with Long Beach Transit to remove a decommissioned bus bench, and then worked with Public Works to add 5 additional spaces in my neighborhood. Safety, as some of my fellow candidates have said here, is also really important. And I agree with, I forget who said it up here, but making sure that we have a connected community, because a connected community is a safe community. So building those partnerships between our residents and businesses and each other, so we all watch out for each other.
Thank you, Joanne. Janine, you're
Yes.
next.
Thank you.
Sure.
Our district is a very diverse district, and if you talk to residents, it's everything from parking, that is a major concern for people, to homelessness, to crime. And what these 3 things have in common is they all cost money. And so when we talk about how we grow our general fund, it's really important to find the resources to grow that general fund. But what's important to me is that we are participating in a values-based budgeting process. That when we talk about crime, which I'd like to say is similar to 2011 when it is the lowest crime rate that we've seen, it's also a national trend. It's not a California trend, so the assumption that it's Prop 47 is an ill-advised assumption. But I would say that when we are talking about working on crime, we have to talk about how we do that. Yes, we should have enough police officers in the field, but we need to be investing in community solutions that invest in our youth. Our youth need to have access to jobs. They need to have after-school programs. When 40% of our single moms in this city are living in poverty, there's a reason why we have crime. There's a reason, and so we need to make sure that we're working on poverty and we're working on growing our general fund so we can have a participatory budgeting process. Thank you.
Thanks, Janine. Eric, you get to wrap up District 2 with that question. Would you like me to repeat it? Okay.
Well, I absolutely believe it is quality of life. It's the most important issue in our district, including street and sidewalk and alleyway repair, finding parking solutions. It's true, Alamitos Beach is the most parking-impacted neighborhood in the city of Long Beach, and many residents come home from work and have to drive 45 minutes to find a parking spot. It was due to poor development in the past, and we need to make sure that we create parking through a multi-pronged approach. I also believe homelessness is a very big issue for the 2nd District. And last year, I chaired the Downtown Residential Council Homeless Task Force. We met monthly to come up with solutions on how to help people who are experiencing homelessness to get into the services. And at the same time, I think we need to partner with our state and LA County representatives to mitigate homelessness as well. It needs to be a full California solution. In addition to that, I also believe economic development and bringing in new businesses and infrastructure improvements are very important to the 2nd District. We need to have a connected corridor. We have the Broadway corridor, for instance, that needs a lot of attention. It could be the center jewel between downtown Long Beach and Belmont Shore. We need to continue developing 4th Street, 7th Street, 10th Street, and downtown.
Thanks, Eric. So we're now ready for our final question before we get to closing statements. We're going to mix it up a little bit here. Everyone will get a different question that we'll pull. We're not going to really pull it from the hat because I had that hat on most of the day. And so we're not going to put the questions in there. But we've asked the audience for questions, and we also asked Leadership Long Beach alums for questions. We're going to start with Lori in District 8. And let's see what your question's going to be. Remember Karnak? Johnny Carson used to be one of my favorite people, by the way. I'm sorry he's gone. Let's see what this question is. And again, this is for you, Lori. What do you feel is being done, and what ought to be done to improve the quality of student choices in nutritional food in schools?
Wow. Nutritional choices in schools. Well, first of all, I mean, I worked in a cafeteria when I was in high school, but seriously, I think it's really important that kids have some good alternatives and don't provide them with damaging food alternatives so that children are getting diabetes, they don't get enough exercise. It's important that they have low-fat, low-sugar foods that'll sustain them through their educational period in their classes every single day, and so that they can concentrate. So it's just a matter of providing a range and a choice that are healthy for children. I don't know if that answers the question.
Thank you, Ori. We're going to move on to Al this time. I've got another interesting question, Al.
Okay.
Are you planning to continue the current council's ban on medical marijuana? That's a yes/no question, so, but there's a follow-up. Where are you on the cannabis issue?
Well, I have always been in support of healthy or safe access for those who need it. It's a complicated issue, and I have engaged in conversations to do an ordinance here, but there has not been a consensus amongst the council, and so we have not. And so the short answer is yes, we are supporting the existing ban. The issue of medical marijuana and marijuana period in the state of California is ever evolving, and it's very difficult to set policy on a moving target. Every week, every month, there is a different decision from the courts or different sort of legislative action around that issue, and so I think it's important that we'll have an opportunity to take that to the voters in November, statewide, as well as I understand there's a local measure as well. And so I'm supportive of that, and I'm looking forward to hearing from the voters on that as well.
Thank you, Al. Wesley, you're up, and here's your question. How will you be transparent in your decision-making on the city council?
Well, it's feeding right into the word choice I made, which is accountability. I'm trying and immediately making happen connection with the neighborhoods. And we have had in the past coffees on Saturdays in neighborhoods, and I will bring that back. We have had consistent connection with the neighborhood associations, the neighborhood watch organizations, and I will bring that back immediately. The idea is not just to hear from your constituents, which is priority, but also for them to hear from you. Hey, why can't we get this street here fixed? Well, here's what's going on. Here's the scoop. But I'm so happy to hear about it. And now it's something else that we know on the priority, and we start figuring out, are enough people talking about that? They need to hear from their city council as much as the city council needs to hear from them. And so the openness and bringing that connection back is certainly a first priority, or one of the priorities for me.
Thank you, Wesley. We're going to jump over to District 2 now. We're going to start with Janine. Janine, let's see which question you get. Okay, I'm going to do my best with this one. Recent headlines state that the city will no longer be fracking in Long Beach. That was fracking. But AQMD notices indicate that acidizing, a similar technique is being used. Given the extent of climate change, what are your thoughts on this controversial drilling?
Well, overall, I'd say that I'm opposed to fracking and drilling within our city. The numbers are very shocking when you hear what it does to our communities. My daughter was born with asthma, and that is part of everything that's gone on in our environment. I need a little bit more information on these chemicals because I'm educated on the fracking issue, but on this new part, I do feel like, though, I'm the only candidate that hasn't taken money from oil. I'm the candidate that believes that we need to make sure we need to step up greening our environment, and it doesn't just mean the port, it means our infrastructure, our roads, and everything in between. I want to make sure that it's a priority for our city and for our district, that we're looking at all areas of environmental impacts for residents, and that we're doing whatever we can to regulate those. So thank you.
Thanks, Janine. Eric, what are your plans to transition the city of Long Beach to renewable energy sustainability in the future?
Well, I think climate change is a very important issue, and I think in general, climate change is better to be worked on locally here in the city as opposed to nationally. There's a lot of partisan bickering over climate change. I certainly think it's a very important issue to reduce CO2 emissions and diesel fuels. I think we need to continue working with the Port of Long Beach to ensure their clean truck program is put in place. I think we need to work on continuing to plant trees across our city, and I'm definitely a community candidate that's been involved in a number of tree plantings across the city. And as far as renewable energy, I think we need to potentially look at wind and solar, wind turbines possibly on the waterfront by the port to create renewable energy. And I'm very open to more solar power as well for residents. I know with the Edison problem that we had last year, we learned that a lot of residents weren't allowed to put solar on their houses. So we can work to change those rules within Long Beach, the state of California, and with Edison.
Thanks, Eric. We're going to move on to Joanne. And I'd like to add that we really appreciate the questions we've gotten from the public. All the questions we've asked so far in this section have been questions from the public, and this one is also from the public. Long Beach has proven to be a city in which others can learn from. Examples: public school system, K-12 and higher ed, water conservation, and the Grand Prix. In a time of such distrust between urban communities and law enforcement, how can Long Beach, a city of such rich diversity, lead the way in creating an inclusive, harmonious, and trusting communities?
Yes, I love this question because it really touches on what I talked about earlier when it comes to safety. A connected community is a safe community. We've done a really great job as, I'm president of the East Village Association, we've done a really great job connecting community. It's a matter of seeking to understand before seeking to be understood. And teaching our young especially that there are ways to bridge the gap, to create a bridge between those that historically there has been perhaps a little bit of mistrust or lack of understanding is probably a better choice of words. And coming together as neighbors, coming together as businesses, again, there's so important. We get down to the basics. Understanding one another as human beings is really important. So I think that making sure that our young understand that there isn't necessarily a reason to fear, or if there is, understanding why they fear and connecting those with those that potentially those fears exist, and having that open dialogue and conversation.
Thanks, Joanne. We're going to move on to District 6. We'll start with D. D, here's your question. What does ethics mean to you, and how has it affected how you see the city of Long Beach today?
Thank you. That was a very good question because we talk about ethics, and a lot of this comes, when you live in a district the way I have, I mean, we think of a lot of things that goes on in our community, and especially people think of the individuals who are there because of their backgrounds and their financial status. You know, we have to deal with ethics because of the fact that we have to think of each other as individuals. And a lot of those people think that because of the fact that the area in which we live in, they overlook a lot of these things. So I think when we talk about the ethics of a district in which I live in, we have to get very serious and let them know that the 6th district is part of which I've been most of my life. We know that we're still part of the city of Long Beach because a lot of times we are left out of a lot of things. And I think from the ethical standpoint of it, these people really have to be very serious about, don't leave us out. Let us know that we're still the part of the city of Long Beach.
Thank you, Dee. Robert, you're up this time. If elected to the city council, how would you like to be remembered after your service?
The man who did the right thing all the time and to actually lifted the poorest neighborhoods in a city up out of poverty, that really helped pivot this whole city. I mean, we're all waiting around for something to happen, something really big. And a world-class city is looked at and graded by its poorest citizens and its most disadvantaged neighborhoods. So if we all want to go where we think we're going and go to that great place, we need to really focus on bringing up and sharing the wealth and making people thrive, creating that vibrant, prosperous midtown. I know how to do it. I made a plan. It's been validated. It's actionable. All I need is to just get in there and bring everybody together and find that common ground and just act on it. Just do it. Bring it together. And by doing so, that would be my legacy in bringing up the entire city. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. The next question is for Josephine. Josephine, how can we ensure a thriving economy without the displacement of our residents of greatest need?
That's a good question.
It is a good question, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It's an audience question.
In 6th District, there's not enough being done for the small businesses, and there's not enough being done for the homelessness, and there's not enough done being in the crime. What I want to do is bring in more small businesses, make it easy for them to set up. There's so much regulations and fees that a lot of them get disheartened and stop doing their dream, which is a small business. With the homelessness as well, to not displace them, but to find homes for them. That's the first and most thing that we need is homes for them. And as for another thing is the crime. That's what is my major focus is crime. It's targeting our young kids today. They need their education. They need more activities after school.
Thank you, Josephine. So last question for District 6. I guess that's you, Eric.
Absolutely.
You ready?
Yes.
What role can the City Council play to improve the integrity of the local food system and increase access to quality, affordable food for the families that need it the most?
Can you give me that one more time? That was a handful.
I actually was going to give it another time because it was, it's a mouthful. What role can the City Council play to improve the integrity of the local food system and increase access to quality, affordable food for the families that need it the most?
Well, the one thing that I think that the city can do right away is with these open lots, these plots of land that are vacant. I was always thinking of the importance of adding more farming. And we have those small farming communities already in some parts of the 6th District in particular. But I have really, really been appreciative of having these fresh veggies, ooh, that was a mouthful, fresh veggies for these families and residents. So if we could provide more of those, but not just providing those things, but also informing the community of the importance of those vegetables, I think that with the City Council's help, that would be a large part to improving the food quality for our city.
Great, thank you. No, we're done. Yeah, we're done with questions. Yes, I can do that. We're headed to the home stretch, you guys. Everybody had a question, right? A random question?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
So, in the home stretch, we're going to start with District 2, and we're going to start with Janine.
All right, I can start again.
And don't go yet. So, I'm going to ask all of you to give your closing statement. And I'd also ask you to include where you live in your district and for how long.
Great. So I have lived in the 2nd District since 2007. I started in Rose Park, and then I've been on Alamitos Beach since then. I come from a very modest background in Pasadena, Texas. I came from poverty. I came from struggle. I lost my mother and my grandmother to domestic violence very young and to gun violence. I was raised then by a single mom who adopted me, and I struggled every day to survive. And I tell you this because it means that every day I carry that with me, that integrity and that fight. And I've brought that to my community work. And when I came to Long Beach, I found a place where I was able to practice my values. I found a place where I was able to feel a part of the community, and I knew very quickly that I wasn't going to be leaving. I'd like to say that I am the only candidate up here that has not only had a vision for, but fought for and delivered real big things for our community. I applaud everybody for all their leadership and their work in the community, but I've taken on big challenging things that people said could not be done. The Measure In, project labor agreements, local hire, to building a coalition that really went out and engaged in thousands and thousands of voters. And so I want to be the next city council member to continue to deliver on parking to big issues of economic development. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Janine. Your turn, Eric.
Well, thanks for having us here today, and I think it's really important that the audience sees the differences between the candidates. I'm running for city council because I share a great passion for the city of Long Beach. I've lived in the 2nd District close to 9 years in downtown Long Beach on the promenade, and I've been a part of the revitalization of the city of Long Beach. Over the past number of years, I've served on a number of voluntary community organizations. I currently serve as the president of the Downtown Residential Council, co-founded the historic Pine Avenue Business Association and the Long Beach Music Council. I serve on the board of Friends of Bixby Park, and I'm a candidate that has gone through the Leadership Long Beach program, and I'm a small business owner. I believe that the city of Long Beach and the 2nd District is in a great transition, and I think we need a leader with a vision who's been able to get things done in the community to make it happen. I've done a lot of enhancements across the 2nd District. I have a track record. I urge you to go to my website, www.ericgraylb.com, and go to platforms. I'm the only candidate with a real platform out there, and I've been endorsed by the Long Beach Police Officers Association and Assemblymember Patrick O'Donnell, the Sierra Club, and former Mayor Bob Foster.
Thank you, Eric. Joanne, your closing statement, please.
Yes, well, once again, thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight and answer questions about the great city of Long Beach. I grew up here in Long Beach. I'm a native of Long Beach. I grew up in the 1st District, which is not too far from here, in a very challenged neighborhood. It was back then in the 80s, it was even more so challenged than it is today. And I tell you that because getting to where we are today, I've lived in the downtown for 13 years, on Pine Avenue for 10, the East Village for 3, and back on the promenade for about a year. And there's no way that just luck can get me from growing up with a single mom, very limited income, in the most challenged neighborhood in Long Beach to get to enjoy the success I have today. I'm a small business owner in the city of Long Beach. I'm the only candidate who's a business owner in the city of Long Beach. Mine happens to be in the 2nd District. I live, work, play, and do everything here in the 2nd District. I'm a fairly new mom of twin boys, and so being raised in the city of Long Beach, I want to raise my boys in Long Beach, and I want to make sure that we have the best place possible, not just for my children, for the other children in the city and in the district, and also the future generations of our children here in the city of Long Beach.
Thanks, Joanne. So we're going to move on to District 6 this time. We're going to start with Robert, but before you go, Robert, let me just remind you all, closing statement, and also please include where you live in the city and for how long, or in the district, excuse me. Robert, go ahead.
Thanks for having us tonight. I actually grew up in Seal Beach, and I went to Los Alamitos High School. Instead of going to college, I went to war. I fought in Iraq on USS Ranger, the Top Gun, where I was in charge of the operating room. I thought I was doing well, but when I got back, my parents told me to get my stuff out of the garage. We sold the house in Seal Beach, and whoa. They told me that I couldn't buy the house because if you want to live in Seal Beach, you got to earn it. So I went and I bought my bungalow in the 6th District. I've fallen in love with the community, and now it's 2007. I've been working really hard to make that neighborhood everything it can be. I believe that it can be very beautiful and very thriving, very prosperous, and I have a plan. I've done a lot in the neighborhood already. I've founded the MacArthur Park Neighborhood Association. I rallied our neighbors, drove the gangs out with the help of the Long Beach Police Department. And there's a Cambodia Town beautification project that you can read online. It's all there. It's been validated. And it can be a very, very beautiful part of the city, and it'll be something that everybody benefits from, all right? And that's important for everybody to know. I wanted to make it so that everybody rises together. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Robert, I may want to talk to your parents because we have a garage full of our kids' stuff, and they're all, and none of them live there. So I want to know what the secret is.
I said, get out, we sold the house, and you can't have it because you didn't earn it.
Okay, a bit too harsh for me, but I appreciate that.
I'm happy it all worked out. I'm in the 6th District, and I know how to make it better.
It's your turn, Josephine. Closing statement, please.
Well, I go by Josie. Most of you in here know me by Josie or Josephine. I grew up in South Whittier, 15th of 20 siblings. I moved here in 2000, so I've been a resident for 16 years in Wrigley, and I just moved to MacArthur Park area. I started the Wrigley Community Watch in April 2015. I do patrols almost every single day, not just within the District 6, but parts of District 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and parts of District 7 as well. I'm a Long Beach CERT member. I'm American Red Cross volunteer. I'm also with the Wrigley Area Neighborhood Alliance. I do have a small business. I partnered with Piñata Fiesta as an event consultant coordinator. I have a bachelor's degree in business management with the emphasis in early childhood development. I'm also a fundraising event coordinator chief for the Veterans Independence Day celebration. I work with the community. I'm out there every single day trying to stop these gangs, trying to stop some of the encampments that 2 of them were selling drugs to 13-year-olds. So I am out there fighting to protect our children, fighting to protect you and the community. That's me.
Thank you, Josephine. Eric, you're next. Your closing statement, please.
All right. Well, for those that know me, they know I'm Long Beach born and bred, baby. I've lived here my entire life. With that said, I have seen the 6th District be a bit stagnant, to say the least. I was here as a young man. I lived across the street from Antioch from the ages of 5 to 11 years old. And those neighborhoods were a little tough, man. My mom moved us out of that neighborhood the day she found a syringe in our front yard. And so with that said, my mom had the luxury of getting a home, and we moved to the North Long Beach. And with her guidance and a little bit of help from local organizations, I was able to go and get my degree. But I came back to the 6th District, where I moved to the Wrigley neighborhoods, where once again, in 2007, though it was a nice, flourishing neighborhood, I could see that there was still so much work that needed to be done. So I passed up my architectural dreams to go on and try and help my neighborhood, actually more about the youth. And so with that said, that is my focus. I want to help the youth. I want to help these neighborhoods. I want to improve these neighborhoods with all of my knowledge and research that I have with the community and my background in what I do now.
Thank you, Eric. Your turn, Dee.
Thank you. Being the youngest on this council here, I just want to say, I don't know about, I came here when I was 5, and I've been living in the 6th District for over 70 years. I'm 75, but I'm still living. And very active in many things, but the most of all of this, you guys, all I think about right now is when I go to that council meeting, and after I leave there, we have a lot of time that we sit around and do a whole lot of things. But being a part of the city in which I really have lived most of my life since I was 5, I just want to let you guys know I have so much compassion and love for the community in which I live in the 6th District, which has been 70 years. 70 years I've lived in the 6th District. Not going anywhere, that's where I'm going to leave from. And I figure that's a long time from now. I'm just age 7. So don't get me twisted with that. You guys, I just want you guys to know that that 6th District is going to be thriving because all I talk about is a job opportunity, and that's all I speak on. Get me some jobs and I'll stop crime and everything else. I'm not going to be able to deal with police. I'm going to deal with jobs, and that's all I think about. If you've been to any one of mine, it's about jobs. And if we can get that and get these developers to understand, if you can help the people in my district with jobs, I can help you stop any form of crime. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dee. Thank you very much, Dee. On to District 8. We're going to start with Lori.
Okay. Thank you so much for having us tonight. It's a good opportunity to get together and share with the public. I've lived in North Long Beach for 27 years. I've been active for 20 years, mainly because I saw a need. I jumped right into redevelopment, and I did that for 16 years, eventually being the vice chair and then chair of North PAC, where we worked on projects and issues in the district and trying to improve it. There are still projects that are going on today that started back with North PAC in 1996, which include the library, the police station, the North Police Station, the East Police Station, the fire station, paving streets. So I understand what redevelopment can do. And there are other opportunities possibly with the state with infrastructure financing districts as well. I have a background in finance. I've worked in finance for 35 years. Public sector, private sector, small business, Fortune 500 companies. And I think that I can do an excellent job for my district. I think I'm an excellent choice, and I will help bring fiscal responsibility back to the city.
Thank you, Lori. You're up, Al.
Thank you so much, and I want to thank Leadership Long Beach for hosting this forum. It's been really fun. I've been a homeowner in District 8 since 2001. I've been in the city for over 20 years as an activist. I've been involved in many organizations, served on many boards. I co-founded my neighborhood association, CCMA, in 2003. Was elected in 2012 as the community candidate. I still am the community candidate
I have delivered for the 8th District over the last 4 years. My district has improved vastly under my leadership. The economic development throughout my district is evident. The changes in terms of beautification throughout the district is evident. The retail development in our district is evident. The park development in my district is evident. There's no illusion here. The connectivity in my district is evident and real. I've helped bring along many neighborhood organizations, many community-based organizations, and develop solid partnerships throughout my district. I've facilitated millions of dollars in investment, private investment in the 8th District over the last 4 years, and I've been a strong, staunch advocate of our noise ordinance and a strong supporter for quality of life in our neighborhoods. And I'll continue to do that over the next 4 years if I am elected, re-elected, which I am confident will happen because my district, my residents know what's going on because we make sure we communicate with our district.
Thank you, Al.
All the time. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Al. Appreciate it. Finally, Wesley, you get to make the last closing statement.
Yeah, very nice. All told, I have lived over 30 years in the Bixby Knolls area. In fact, I am the 4th generation of my family to call the 8th District home. My great-grandma Wiki, both sets of grandparents have been in the 8th District. My parents live there now, my aunt and uncle, my sister, and so on and so forth. We are well healed. What a gift to live in this city. With its weather, its culture, its history, its landmarks, now we must match our priorities to those of the priorities of our citizens. Police and fire, streets and sidewalks, good jobs. I'm currently president of the Metal Finishing Association, the largest of the 36 states that have one. I have spent 10 years working with underprivileged youth in South Central LA and taking them to camps in Sacramento. I worked an hour a week for 10 years in our local schools, helping children read and working alongside teachers. Let's ensure through this kind of experience of bringing coalitions together of businesses, not-for-profits, citizens, and government, let's ensure that Long Beach stays a world-class city well into the foreseeable future. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out this evening and being involved.
Thank you, Wesley. So we're about ready to wrap it up. Let me just say a couple things, Jeff, and I'll pass it off to you. So thanks so much to all of our candidates for City Council for participating in the 2016 Leadership Long Beach Citywide Candidates Forum. I hope that we do one in 2018. We wish you the best of luck in the weeks ahead. This is all for you. This applause is for you, and it's for you as well. I want you all to remember that vote by mail starts on March 14th through April 5th. Last day to register is March 28th. Election day is April 12th. Jeff?
All right. So first of all, someone mentioned about our leadership principle. It takes a lot of courage to put yourself up in leadership. So big round of applause again for our candidates. Also from Long Beach City College and Long Beach Unified School District. Let me go through a couple thank yous here. It takes a lot to put on an event like this, and we again thank the library and our city clerk who are part of this. Let's hear it for our team here. We have our timekeeper, Mark, we have Trinka. And the second time doing this, Mr. Moderator, John Glazer. Thank you, John. Also want to thank our planning team who are all here, have been working really hard. Antonio Ruiz, Colleen Bentley, Sabrina, Oscar, Jennifer, James, Olivia, and Derek. They've all been meeting for months, try to get this together, and we really appreciate all that y'all have done. We also have a lot of volunteers who showed up here or manning the tables and helping outside. Thank you, all of you. And we have some of our youth here. So we have our Youth Leadership Long Beach program, some volunteers here. Thank you to them as well. I want to thank our partners, PadNet Palacio, Cal State Long Beach Political Science Department, and the City Clerk's Office. I also want to thank the media. Thank the media for coming out today. And the PadNet, as you can see, is taping all this. My understanding is going to air on Monday, and we'll get out that schedule. And then the goal of this is to share this online. So we'll have not only the forums you've seen tonight, all the candidates had an opportunity to do a 2-minute candidate statement, and those will also be aired as part of the deal. So please help us share that out. The idea is to inform our residents. Also want to thank our Leadership Long Beach Board and all of our alumni that are here tonight.
And let's give a big hand to people who come out on a late night, the audience. Thank you all for being here very much. I had a slide I was going to show, but I don't think I can get it set up in time. But just know, Leadership Long Beach, we're in the middle of our programs. We're about to start recruiting for our next programs. So our Leadership Long Beach Institute, we're having our first event on Monday. So anybody that's interested in learning more about our programs and how to get involved in the community, there's a flyer outside, but Monday, March 7th, we'll be at the Federal Bar. We like to have fun while we're doing it. And then we'll be taking applications and doing interviews here in April and May, as well as our executive program. And if any of you have any high school students, we have a wonderful youth program. So again, thank you all for being here. Drive safe, and you're going to have to be exiting out the back exit, and have a good night. Thank you.
Okay.